Hey, football fans, welcome back to another episode of Lions Latest, the show where we gather around and talk about the greatest team in the NFL, the Detroit Lions. I'm your host, Bryan Hanes, and we have some new updates on some injuries and some other players we've been mentioning recently on this channel. So let's jump straight to the video. Starting off, we are talking about Terrion Arnold. Um, in my last video, we discussed his injury a little bit and what we thought it was going to look like, but of course, with my luck, an hour after I finished that video, I heard news that it's going to be a lot longer than we expected. Arnold was playing arguably his best game of the season, or it looked like it was going to be that way, before leaving in the second half with that shoulder injury that he re-aggravated. Dan Campbell said, unfortunately, he's going to be out for a while. He's going to be out for a long time, end quote. Campbell didn't know if it was season ending yet, but the Lions are planning for an extended absence as of now, which is not great. Like, we've kind of, it's starting to feel like the same song and dance, right? Last year it was the front seven that was decimated by injury, and this year it's starting to be the back end of things, and we've been dealing with several injuries. It kind of started with Rakestraw in preseason, and we've moved on to two corners in one game. One guy comes back a little, still hurt, but he's fine to play, and then he gets hurt in the same place, and now it's looking like we're going to be out, both of them. Starting cornerback DJ Reed, like we said, is already on injury reserved with a hamstring injury, and now they lose Arnold for an extended period, possibly the entire season. The Lions are already without Ennis Rakestraw Jr., who we said got hurt during camp, and Khalil Dorsey is going to be out for a while per Campbell too. So we're really without most of our secondary backup right now. Detroit's going to really need to rely on Amik Robertson, who I have total faith in. I like Amik Robertson. Rock Ya-Sin, who less so. Avonte Maddox and others to step up at cornerback. And then Dan Campbell also talked about the front seven having to pick up some of the slack for the back end, kind of like how it was reversed last year with the back end having to pick up slack for our front seven, right? The quarterback, even more than they have. The 16 sacks that they have in 5 games, Dan Campbell and defensive coordinator Kelvin Shepard want to play more man coverage because of that stat, but zone will have to be adjusted if necessary to help their personnel differences right now. Detroit could also look to add numbers to cornerback room this week, and we'll get into that a little later with that right there. So it's definitely a problem. It's a huge problem. Was I thrilled with Terrion Arnold's performance up to this point? No. And you guys know this. You guys know I'm not necessarily a hater, but I'm not a believer yet. And I wasn't thrilled with how he'd been performing up to this point. Now, does this mean I want my starting cornerback out for an extended period amount of time? No, do not get that twisted. I am very upset that he's out. The big reason why is for him to get better, for him to continue to develop and get better at, not holding people on every play. He needs to not be injured. He needs to continue to practice and play. And these injuries that he's been dealing with, they're making it harder for him to get that extended practice and that continued experience that he really needs in these first few years of being in the league. It makes me a little worried. It makes me a little upset, obviously. I think he's going to come back and continue to have that drive he's already had, but it definitely makes me worry for his development into next year, where this was really supposed to be his solidify that skill kind of year. Very upset about this. Obviously, the backup guys are gonna have to put in work. I mean, Robertson, I feel like, can hold it down until DJ Reed comes back. But Rock Ya-Sin and Avonte Maddox are gonna have their work cut out for them against some of these opponents we have coming up. With that being said, let me know what you guys think about this. What do you think the best plan of action is going forward? We will get into a trade rumor a little later in this video, but currently it seems like we are in a bit of a hard spot with both those guys being out. Hopefully they get better soon, especially Terrion Arnold. That's going to bring us to our next topic. We're talking about the other side of the ball right now. Jameson Williams, another guy who I've kind of had a lot to say about in the past few weeks, and you guys have let me know, but there's stuff off the stat sheet you need to account for, and I understand that, but I'm not paying him to block. Well, I'm not paying him, period. Or the Lions aren't paying him to block. They're paying him to be the fastest guy in the league. With that being said, let's talk about some of this, extra stat stuff that has been making Jameson Williams stand out to this coaching staff thus far without all those flashy catches. Well, Williams recently signed a 3-year, $83 million extension for the season opener and has caught only 11 of his 21 targets so far for 223 yards and 1 touchdown only. Based off an offseason comments and recent remarks from Lions offensive coordinator John Morton, there was a lot of expectation that we were going to see a lot more from Jameson Williams, that Williams would be a larger focal point of the offense, like they kind of mentioned he would be. And so far, it just hasn't really seemed like that's where it's been. A lot of people thought that was going to be the offensive scheme. Chuck the ball downfield. We have Jameson Williams. And that kind of has shown, but we've seen that Jameson Williams really isn't connecting with Goff as well as we saw last year. Lions coach Dan Campbell alluded to when speaking with reporters Monday that, quote, J-Mo didn't have this high production of the catches and targets, but his blocking was outstanding in the run game all day long. He was physical, getting after it. He found another way to help us produce, end quote. And that's a really good point. During the Lions' 37-24 Week 5 victory over Cincinnati, Williams caught only one target, a 9-yard pass from Goff in the first half, but because the Bengals secondary played such tight coverage on Jameson Williams, often rolling multiple defenders his way to keep him from getting open or past the secondary, Campbell explained that the attention Williams drew over top opened up the opportunities for Goff to go to the underneath stuff, like Laporta, St. Brown, right? All that little stuff. Because of the coverage Williams commanded, Goff was able to pick apart the Bengals defense, completing 8 passes to St. Brown for 100 yards and 5 to Laporta for 92 yards, and the tight end's first touchdown of the season so far. Okay, so this is where you start to see that extra effort stuff coming into play, despite not having the crazy numbers we expected so far. And this is a good point to have, right? Even if he's just blocking, there's more stuff he's doing. Just him being on the field is an issue, right? He's the distraction. He's the guy defenses worry about. You see him line up on the outside, you're like, oh my God, he's going to run a fade route. We need to have a safety deep. We need to have a corner sticking on him like glue and even have about 10 yards on him. All that's going to do is let our slot guys eat. And that's what happened. St. Brown didn't have a touchdown, but he still had 100 yards. 100 yards. It's crazy his impact he's having without getting catches. And it is making me, trust me, I see it. I'm not blind to it and I'm not ignorant to it. I do see that he is having a huge impact on our team without getting those stats. It just seems like we could be getting more out of him and we could be getting more targets to him for those explosive plays, those dagger plays that we are going to need against better teams going forward, right? We thought the Ravens were going to be one of them, and injuries and some other stuff definitely led to a change in that plan. But even for Kansas City, we're going to need some explosive plays. We're going into Arrowhead. It is going to be a harder game than some people expect just because of the personnel Kansas City's dealing with right now. With that being said, Jameson Williams also said and told reporters based on the performance, I just can't be out there pouting while the game's going on because the play could come my way and I won't be in the right mindset to make it happen, Williams said. I just keep a clear mind when I'm out there on the field. No worries about targets. I was more worried about the win. Last season, he had 58 catches for 1,001 yards and 7 touchdowns. He can get back to this, and I think he's correct in that mindset of don't pout. Wait for the ball to come to you. Like, you are one of those big targets. The targets will start coming. The receptions will start coming. And I think he can definitely get back to his stats last season if he starts getting going pretty soon, especially now that he will be a main focal point in the offense. Supposedly, if he gets going, he could definitely get back to these yards with the kind of catches he starts reeling in on those go routes. Let me know what you guys think about this, though. You kind of already let me know, but what do you think based on what we've just heard? Does that constitute him not getting these catches, and what do you think we'll see from him going forward? Now, we talked about this earlier, the kind of trade rumor that would help our secondary. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it because this is definitely something now we have to consider on the table while these two guys are out. And I think we're going to definitely see it against Kansas City next week if it is going to be a crucial thing we have to worry about. Campbell added added that it's possible Arnold wouldn't play again in 2025. With that and the other injuries that Lions are dealing with at cornerback, Detroit is a strong candidate to acquire a cornerback before the NFL trade deadline. It's true. On Monday, A to Z Sports' Mike Payton proposed that the Lions trade a 2026 sixth-round pick to the Miami Dolphins for Rasul Douglas. Now, this seems reasonable. This seems like it could be a possibility, and here's why. The Dolphins are literally a week or two away from going into full rebuild mode. They've already pretty much said that they're going to get rid of Tyreek Hill after the end of the season, and that they're going to be just plummeting into a full. We need to get our roster reworked, and I doubt a veteran like Rasul Douglas is going to want to stick around for all of that. So it's already putting them in a great position where the Dolphins need draft picks, and Rasul Douglas is going to want to get out, right? Quote, or not quote, what he might like is the chance to come back to an NFC North team and beat up on his former team. He played for the Packers before, right? And the Dolphins don't really have a chance to get something out of this unless they go for a draft pick. Douglas won the Super Bowl as a rookie with the Philadelphia Eagles in 2017. The 30-year-old spent 3 years with the Eagles and then won with the Carolina Panthers in 2020. The veteran cornerback could be exactly what the Lions need right now. He doesn't offer any long-term upside. In fact, Douglas is only signed through the 2025 season, so it could be just a short-term thing where we wait for our main guys, our main developmental guys to get ready to go for whenever they're back. 2 years ago, the Lions drafted Arnold and Rakestraw to be the future of the cornerback room, and it's just clear that they haven't really fulfilled their draft stock yet. But injuries have been a significant reason why, and we've talked about that already. Acquiring Douglas then gives the Lions a starting cornerback to replace Arnold only this season. The next year, Detroit could return to its developmental plan at cornerback. It's a very short deal, and we're getting a lot out of it, right? This season, he has started 3 of 5 contests. Douglas has registered 19 combined tackles and 4 passes defended. Douglas has also started 83 games in his career in the NFL. Last season, he posted 58 combined tackles and 5 passes defended in 15 starts for the Bills. With Douglas, the Lions could replace Arnold for now, rather cheaply too. A 6th-round pick is really a small price to pay for the better half of our season, especially with the position we're in right now offensively. I think this is a good trade, and I think we should definitely go and bite on this. Let me know what you guys think, though. Are there better people on the market right now in a better position to go somewhere? I think right now, with where the Dolphins are going to be and Douglas, where he stands in the NFL, this would be good. This is enticing for him. It's enticing for the Dolphins because they want to start rebuilding and they could use all the draft stock they could get. I think this is a really good trade, and I think it's honestly cheap for us, and it puts us in a position where we don't have to be crapping our pants over our secondary, right? I'm just saying. Let me know what you guys think about this one, though. I definitely think it's a good possibility. It's going to take us to our 4th and final topic, just discussing some of your comments. Classic, right? Brent DeWitt 2180 says, Manu versus Hendrickson went about as I figured. He'll learn from it, and I hope it's sooner than later. Casey likes to move Chris Jones out to the edge, so it's not going to get any easier if he plays next game. Yeah, it's true. There's no word on Decker so far that I've seen about him getting better and being fully participant in practice. So Manu is going to have to step up. We saw what happened with Hendrickson. It wasn't the best outing, but he's also getting his feet wet. So we're going to have to really see what happens. Chris Jones, like you said, same level, if not even a little better than Hendrickson, despite the age differences. I think Chris Jones is going to play an elite level, and if they do move him out to the edge, we are going to have to either put a double team on him or Mount's just going to have to step up and be a dog against him. You're absolutely right. It's going to be a cool matchup to watch, and I definitely didn't think about it before, so thank you so much for that comment, Brent DeWitt. Lastly, we have Superman24 who says, this will be the last week that Rashee Rice is out. Thank you. I didn't know in my last video. Whoops, I didn't prep for that one, but appreciate you. Thank you. Thornton had some decent games in his absence, so watch out for him this week with our corners being out. Speaking of our corners being out, Adam Scheffler just reported that Terrion's injury is not as bad as we first thought. Interesting. He will most likely be out for a month. Cam Jordan would be a good leadership guy in the locker room and a great guy to give Hutch and Muhammad a break once in a while. But yes, I don't think it'll happen. Yeah, that's just the thing. He's been in New Orleans for so long. It seems great on paper, but realistically, why would he go at this point? I totally get what you're saying there. I agree. With Terrion Arnold's injury, I didn't actually know this. So this is a great little fact. If they're saying it's not going to be bad as we once thought, maybe we don't need to trade for a corner, right? As I still think it would be cheap and it wouldn't be a bad option, especially with all the injuries we're dealing with there. But if you're saying it's not supposed to be out for the whole season, or Adam Scheffler's, that would be great. I would love that, but I've heard so many different things at this point. I think we're gonna have to wait for a little bit longer to get a strong answer out of what's going on right now. And then finally, yeah, Thornton, definitely have to keep an eye on him. I am a little worried about Patrick Mahomes picking apart our secondary. Hopefully the pass rush is good enough to get to him. I know their left tackle loves to false start, so hopefully that gives us a little bit of upper edge, but we'll have to just wait and see. Thank you so much for your comment, Superman24, as always. With that being said, we are out of time today. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Lions Latest. If you made it to this point in the video, tell me what you think about that trade rumor. Now that we know maybe Terry Arnold's not going to be out for that long, is it even worth it at this point? And also, tell me what you guys think, pardon me, about Jameson Williams beyond the stats. Is that good enough, or do we need to see more from him? Let me know in the comments right now. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, smash the bell so you never miss a single video here. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video.